friends, it's Sharon from Mad Paper Crush here. Welcome back to my channel. I thought I would come on today and say hello with my face, since most of the time when you see my videos, all you see are my hands working. So I just wanted to say hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be going through the third week of the prompts for Junk Journal July, and you'll see how they came together in my journal. So the videos, I speed them up so that you can see how the page came together without all the, going through real time the process. So I hope you enjoy that style of video. I wanted to put all of the whole week of prompts in here, and I wanted to keep it pretty short so that you don't have to, watch too much. But thank you so much for joining me today. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would do that so that you can see new videos and things that I have going on. And let's get to it. Okay, so we're at day 15 and the prompt is tucked away. And so I found this marbled paper that I really liked, and I wanted to use it to kind of make a little hidden tuck spot. And I just picked out some additional papers that kind of matched the colors of that marbled paper. So of course I've got to tear everything down, and I'm just looking for some ways, to arrange it on the page that I like. So I'm kind of that's all I'm really doing right now, is just sort of moving things around and seeing how, I like things to look. So I love these little papers that have some hole punch in them that you can see the patterned paper through it. So I'm just working to get them glued down and in place. And then I'm going to cut down my marbled paper to a size where I can make an envelope for the page. So that's going to be my little spot to tuck something away in. So I'm going to use my this is a scoring board that does envelopes, and so I'm just scoring on the lines, and then I'm cutting out the corners so that I can fold it up into the envelope. All right, now I'm trying to figure out how this envelope is going to fit on the page, and I was kind of hoping I could have done it horizontally, but that's really not going to work, so I'm probably going to do it vertically. And now I thought I would create my little note card to go inside the envelope. So I'm using the same scraps of paper on a cut down time card to create that note card. So I'm just going to, I think I decided here that I wanted to cover the front of the time card. So I just put some book page on there. It's always a great cover. And then I'm going to work to add some of those little scraps that I had left over to the front, and I'm going to glue them down. All right, after I have everything glued down, I wanted to add a little die cut frame that I had on there. And so I just kind of added it to the top. And then I went to my dictionary, this old dictionary. I think I used it when I was in high school, but I love the old pages of it. It has yellowed so wonderfully. And so I went looking through, trying to find some words that I wanted to add to this note card that I could put in my envelope. So I ended up cutting out the words me and authentic. And so those are the two definitions that I decided to use on this note card. So after cutting them out, I added a little distress to them, and then I glued them down on the front of my card. And of course I had to add a little bit more of that blue paper just to kind of make things pop a little bit. And then the last thing that I wanted to do was add a closure to the envelope. So I picked this contrasting scrapbook paper, and I just cut a little strip of paper that would go across the flap there. And I decided to add a couple of eyelets to the end. I love adding some metal to my pages just for some interest there. So that was all I did. And then I just glued that down on either side of the flap there, and then because I pulled out that orange color, I thought that I would put some orange into the note card that I had done. So I'm just adding some marks around the definitions that I had in there, and then even just filling in some of those die cut spots of that frame so that it would kind of show a little bit better there. And then that just tucks right in my envelope. All right, moving on to day 16. It's Maximalism. And I decided to use this flower book. It's Mr. Marshall's flower book. I love this flower book, and there's lots of really big, beautiful illustrations in it. And I chose this nice big one because I thought that's the piece that I would use to make some maximalism here on my page. And I'm just fussy cutting this whole rose there so I can put it down and have it be a nice big focal point on my page. And then after going around the outside, I decided to just use my craft knife to kind of pull out some of those pieces in between the stems and leaves there so that it was fully cut out, fully fussy cut. When you put it on the page, then more of the ledger page will show behind it, which is what I wanted there. So now I'm just gluing that whole thing down right on my ledger page there on the left hand side. And I really like how that sort of takes up the whole page. And then I got my typewriter out and I decided to type. It's a quote that I couldn't find who may have said it first. It was pretty anonymous when I had seen it anywhere. But it basically says, "You'll always be too much or too little for some people, but you'll be just right for the right people." And I thought that was fun because sometimes I feel like I am too much. I'm too loud. I'm, I don't know, too over the top for some people. So I thought this was the perfect quote for maximalism for me. And then as I was trying to find a spot to put the quote, it just was too big, I think, and it covered up too much of my flower in the background. So I cut the quote in half, and I like this much better. So I added some distress around the edges, and I just glued it right down on different parts of the page, and I'm calling this one good. All right, we're moving into day 17, and the prompt is pause. And when I was thinking about pause, I was thinking about, when you pause, that's kind of a time related thing. So I pulled out this stencil from Tim Holtz that had some clocks on it and just added some distress ink around it to the page to kind of show those clocks. And I really like the way that one turned out. And then I just thought I would just add a little bit of collage around that stencil. So using some once again, I keep reaching for my scrap bin. I love that I've been able to use a lot of my scraps for this project. And I'm tearing them up and just kind of, I decided on this one that I would use kind of the same elements on the top and the bottom to kind of, have that repeat itself. So I'm using some book page and then some other scrapbook pages on there. And then I went to my ephemera holder to see if I could find just some additional pieces that were, not just patterned paper. So I found some labels and some stamps, and I'm just going to kind of try to work to see where they might fit in. I went through a lot of different stamps to try and find the ones that I thought looked best. And then I went in and added some washi tape just for some contrast there as well. And then I'm just going to glue everything down. And then to finish this page off, I found two little butterflies that I thought were nice and contrasting that would kind of make the whole thing pop. So I added those at the end, and that was pause. All right, we're moving into day 18, and the prompt is favorite supply. And this was a tough one for me because I have so many favorite supplies. So I don't think I really picked one. I kind of picked a bunch and then just put them all together into a page. So I started by cutting out some school pictures from like an old yearbook that I had, I think from like 1936 or something. And so then I also took some fabric that I stitched on, because fabric and stitching are definitely some of my favorite supply type things to do there. And then I had this little piece of lace with some double-sided tape on it that I thought would also be a nice contrast. And now I took a bobbin and pulled all of the pink thread off of it. And I just wanted to kind of add it as a messy element up there in the corner. So I just glued down a little bit of it. And then I glued down a little bit of a cluster down there in the lower right-hand corner of the page. And now I'm taking another little cluster that I have, and I'm adding um, a, a pin to it, one of those bulb pins, and a button, and I even put on a bead onto the bulb pin. So, and now I'm adding my ladies there, and then I'm finishing this one up with some washi tape that I am cutting out with my pinking shears so they have a nice jagged edge there. Right, day 19 is interactive, and I thought I would grab my scraps and create kind of an interactive folio inside of the journal that I have. So I'm creating some flaps that overlap. I'm creating a bunch of pockets, and I kind of want to have it fold out so that it's really interactive. So I'm cutting down some papers. These are mostly cardstock papers into pockets for the different sizes or different sides of this folio. I'm adding some little notches on them, and then I decided to sew around everything. So I'm sewing on the pockets. I'm putting sort of the two pieces together, the two sides together that I had created, and then I'm going to glue on these little flaps that I created. So I created one that folds down and there's a little pocket, and then I also added a flap, a fold out on the side, so that when you fold the two of them, they kind of overlap. And I like the way that turned out. And then I wanted to add some pockets as well. So I'm adding one to the left-hand side there. And then I wanted to kind of have this be the front of the flip out there. So, and I wasn't crazy about that pattern, so I decided to kind of cover it up. So I'm adding some book page, and then I'm going to put a pocket at the bottom so that that all that pattern is pretty much covered up. So I thought it was just too busy for what I had going on in the journal. Except you can see on the left-hand side, I wanted to leave a little bit of what was on that paper there because I liked that. That was that flap that I glued down from one of the fold outs there. So, of course, got to add some distress. And I sewed this pocket up as well and glued that on. And then I decided to glue the whole thing in so that you could flip it out and add things to the pockets. All right, day 20 is letter to myself. So I started in the middle of a signature and just took a soft pencil and just started writing down thoughts that I had as a little letter to myself. So it was something that, I just decided I wanted to be private. So I mixed up some paint and then smeared the paint all over my letter. So I like doing that because it makes it thoughtful for me to do the exercise of writing the letter, but yet I don't have to, have it show all the time. It can be just, between me and myself. So to finish this page off, I'm just adding some little elements that kind of match that paint. So some little cards and some labels all around. And of course I have to try and figure out where everything should go. And then I'm gluing everything down, and I'm finishing off this page with some wonderful splatters of some off-white paint. Okay, our last day of the week is day 21, and the prompt is contrast. And I decided to feature my contrast as a contrast in fonts. So I took these block stamps that I had and stamped some words. So I have trust, take, and then I will do commit. And then I was going to use some handwriting as kind of my contrast font. So as I'm kind of stamping these out, I was trying to make commit fit because I know it's going to kind of be tight on this page. So I'm just tearing out everything that I had stamped, and you can see in that word take that there must have been something on that letter A already, some ink. And so it kind of looks like that's a contrast too, which I thought was kind of fun. So trust, make, and commit. These words come from my Bible verses of the year. And so I just kind of wanted to, put them into my journal. And I'm trying to decide, should I outline them? And then I was like, all right, let's just go ahead and write down the words. So um, this is the handwriting, which is my contrast. So for trust, I have in the Lord. For take, I have delight. And then for commit, I have your way. So those are parts of the Bible verses there. But I'm just gluing down, one right after another, those nice big words. And then I'm going to glue down sort of these contrasting handwritten words underneath their appropriate one there. Then I do decide that I want to kind of outline these words a little bit. So I kind of just took a black pen and did sort of a shadow outline all around each of the letters. So, and I think that definitely helps them pop a little bit. And that's it for this week. Another week of Junk Journal July down. Don't forget to check out the comments so you can see all the other wonderful artists that are participating in Junk Journal July. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care, friends. Bye bye.